welcome to another episode of Facebook Live, and we're so excited yet again to have the most amazing Craig here with us. He is an amazing orthomolecular rep and a very knowledgeable individual and super fun. Every time I sit with him, I learn something new, and love it. I've been doing this for a while, you longer, and he has brought me such a long way in conjunction with everything else that I've learned. So I'm just so thankful, and
Well,
he's super fun to
that.
listen to. And we come from the Flint Hills. Look behind us. You didn't even know it's so green out there, but it is today. So, all right, so today, Greg and I were talking about what could we talk about today. And so I thought it would be really fun, again, to go over the amazing protein powders that Orthomolecular has so we can understand, okay, what the heck sets them apart from, like if you go to Hy-Vee or if you go to GNC or some of the other chain nutrition centers. I mean, they're great people, but what are different about these products? And one thing I would like to say, even before I give an opportunity to talk, is, you know, these products are made for people who are gluten-free, dairy-free, purified, and so they're super high quality. So if people especially have a lot of food allergies and they're worried about the contents of the protein powder, you know you're getting a super high quality medicinal grade protein powder from this. So we can also talk about Mitochord too if you want to, even though I don't have the bottle here. But let's go ahead and, what would you say about your protein powders?
Well, I think that you hit on a lot of the points that I would talk about. You know, the biggest difference in what we try and do with Orthomolecular is look at the right raw materials, the right research, and get the right results. So when you look at Glycemicor, for instance, that is, you know, I'm big on formulated for versus how you end up using products, which you've probably heard me say 100 times in all of the years we've been talking to each other. So Glycemicor is formulated for patients for cardiometabolic issues, for blood sugar issues. But ultimately, you can really simplify it down to patients who just need help learning how to eat correctly and helping to lose weight. Because when we look at cholesterol, when we look at triglycerides, and we look at cardiometabolic issues, a lot of times those patients will say, you know, one pill, one procedure, one visit to the doctor is how I get better. But if you're just taking a pharmaceutical, you know, you're addressing the issue, but you're not really dealing with the underlying cause, and that's what something like Glycemicor is going to do. So typically, weight loss, blood sugar, cholesterol, those types of things, with a medical food, which is what we would classify Glycemicor as, the theory on it has been high protein, low sugar is how you would deal with that. So yes, it has a good amount of protein in it, but ultimately what we really wanted, and where this product differs greatly, as you were saying, from the retail, we went high fiber as well. So when you look at this product, it has 12 grams of fiber that's going to be in it, which is more fiber than basically 3 bowls of oatmeal. So if you think about that, you know, the standard American diet probably has less than 3 grams of fiber in it per day. You know, everybody always, when I go talk to a doctor, they always ask me what's new, what's the new hot product, what's going on, and you start talking to them about fiber, and you know, it's not new, it's not sexy, but it's been getting results for years. And when you do something like this, what the fiber does, it increases GLP-1 production, which are satiety hormones. So you probably have patients that are injecting GLP-1 with Victoza or taking Januvia to block the breakdown of GLP-1. So what if you could naturally support that production?
So cool.
And then basically what you look at is you're making the patient fuller longer so that they're having that ability to, what we talk about as the second or third meal effect. So if you take this, you know, my grandma and my mom always told me when I was younger, start off the day with a good healthy breakfast. And if you don't know what a good healthy breakfast is, what's simpler than doing a couple of scoops of Glycemicor and getting the equivalent of 3 bowls of oatmeal from a fiber standpoint? So then you're going to be fuller later in the day. You're going to eat a smaller portion at lunch. You're going to eat a smaller portion later in the day. So for those of us that are, you know, you're going one way, your wife or husband's going another way, the kids are going a third direction, and nobody has time for breakfast, or, you know, I want one thing for dinner, my wife wants something else for dinner, the kids want a third thing for dinner, and next thing you know, you're getting pizza 3 nights a week because that's the one thing everyone can agree upon. well, what if you took 1,000 calories out of your diet and switched it, and switched it over to 150 calories, and switched it over to good doses of rice or whey protein, since we have two versions of it. And what if we started increasing the fiber? Isn't that going to be more beneficial to the patient? And then instead of the standard American diet, you're looking at a healthy diet, which is going to control blood sugar, going to control cholesterol, going to do all of those things. So it's really a product that, like I said, we formulate it, and the science behind it supports one thing, but simple, and no pun intended, it simply can be for that patient who doesn't understand what a healthy meal is, or how to cook, or doesn't have time. It can very simply be just protein and fiber, and we're not even looking at the science behind it, and that they're just using it to help themselves.
And I have to say too that when Craig brought this in, he brought a little blender and he made me the chocolate version, and to me it tasted like chocolate brownie batter. So I will attest to the taste that this stuff actually tastes good. So if you happen to be allergic to milk or whey, they have another option. It's a rice protein powder. And so it's really fun to have these options, so when people come in and say, oh, I have this, we're not nearly as limited by food allergens, because you're assured of the purity of the product and the opportunity to change which formulation you have, and they're both super amazingly tasty.
And realistically, brown rice or whey protein. Whey protein is a little smoother than brown rice from a beverage standpoint, but beyond that, it's like you said, if you have any type of dairy issue, no pun intended, just no whey.
Right.
And do the rice protein. I mean,
that's so fun.
That's just the way that I would talk about it. Between that, you can really choose either or, and they taste virtually the same. Between me, I tend towards the chocolate more than the vanilla, but the vanilla is really, really good.
Yeah.
So it's all, I always say taste is subjective. I may like something that you hate, you may like something that I hate, and vice, however it all works out. So I would just tell you, with the patient, it's up to them, but if they like chocolate, they're going to like the chocolate version.
And the other thing too I like is that in their protein powders, not only are they amazing and they have purity, but there's also other supplements they put in here. Like in this one, there's a little bit of chromium and a little bit of vanadium in them, and those things are additionally helping with your blood sugar. So the last thing I want to do is have to go buy a protein powder, 5 supplements, and take 5 pills and a shake at the same time. It just makes me feel sick. I want simplicity, and I want to, it just makes me feel good when that happens. So I'm just thankful that Orthomolecular makes it easier for me. So that is the glycemic course. So next, we'll talk about, I'll just drop them down. About an old favorite, that I love so much that I can never talk too positively about. It's Inflammacore, and Inflammacore comes, I believe, in strawberry, chocolate mint, and my favorite, which is vanilla chai. So, oh my gosh, Craig, let's talk about this again.
So, when you look at Inflammacore, it's a pretty simple concept of what we look at with that. When you're doing a functional or an integrative approach to medicine, the first thing that you have to do is heal the gut. So, from an analogy standpoint, you have to put the fire out before you rebuild the foundation of the house. So your gut is your foundation. So when you do this, you're getting skullcap, turmeric, propolis, potent anti-inflammatories, which are meant to reduce GI inflammation. When we then have the inflammation under control, you're getting glutamine, you're getting vitamin D, you're getting things that are really going to help create those tight gap junctions. So where if you've ever talked to a practitioner and Dr. Durland has talked to you, you say you have a leaky gut or something like that. Basically what it's talking about is taking your gut and tightening up so that things aren't passing through it, whether it's pathogens, antigens, food particles, the things that are causing your issues. So vitamin D, glutamine, things like that are doing it. Then you get good dose of brown rice protein, lysine, glycine, and proline, which are going to help maintain that gut health long term. So when I look at this product, it's really something that most patients are taking when they present with GI inflammation. And then something else that I know you're a big fan of, the GlutaShield, is really, which is a high-dose glutamine powder, is really good for long-term, really maintaining that gut health. So this is kind of your rescue. It's something that I will say that is a very popular product with ortho, because we try, and as I said earlier, research, raw materials, and results. And this really hits all of that because you're looking at research on very, very specific raw materials. Skullcap, where it's going to modulate the enzyme expression of inflammation. So you have to have inflammation as part of your, so that you know when something's wrong. So where Skullcap works great, it's going to help reduce the inflammation, but it gives you the ability to have it in the future. So that might kind of sound like a foreign concept, but the way that I explain it is, if you have somebody who has nerve damage in their hand and they put it on the stove, they don't know to pull it away until they actually smell burning.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody who doesn't have that, they pull it away, they get a little bit of a burn. And that's basically what inflammation is. Inflammation is bad in the sense that it causes problems, but if we don't have inflammation, you don't know that something's wrong with you. So like I said, Skullcap is going to reduce it, the turmeric is going to reduce it, the propolis is going to reduce all of that. So you have all of the ingredients that are going to help, whether, for those GI inflammation patients. Taste-wise, once again,
it's delicious.
I think the chai is really, really good. If you like chai, if you go to certain national coffee chains and get a chai tea latte every single day, you are really going to like the chai. The strawberry we actually probably sell the most of. I think it's a pretty neutral. And then the chocolate mint, I actually think in my opinion, it's of the three of them, it mixes up and people get really creative and do some really cool things. We had a conference in Denver last year, and we were making up smoothies there for doctors and doing it with almond milk and almond butter and just kind of like making some different healthy alternatives with it. And a lot of times when you say mint, people think that it's going to be like mint chip and be really, really overpowering. The mint is very subtle. And to me, it's the one that if you want to say, hey, I'm going to make my own version, I'm going to play around with this, it's the best to do that because it really is just more chocolatey, and then the mint really does a good job of mixing well with other things and giving you some kind of unique flavors.
Awesome. And they're coming out with some individual packs too. So when you come in, you can try it before you get the whole package. And
I would even say what I view the packs as the best as someone who has to travel. The individual packages, trust me, if you've tried to get through security at an airport with an open bottle of powder, you're checking your bag, and sometimes you don't want to do that. So the bags, the individual servings themselves are more really, you can use them for samples, you can do them however you want, but from a patient standpoint, they're really great for those people that are on the go, that want to take it and their schedule is, hey, I'm leaving the house at 5 a.m., I'm going to the gym, and then I want to take this before I go to work. So they've got that with them. Or somebody who's traveling a lot through airports or around the country, so they can take 2 or 3 of them with them and they're not missing their dosing on it. Because something else you always hear me say is I like products that you get results in minutes, not months or years.
Yeah.
Inflammacore is something that you get results in minutes, not months or years, but it's also something that if you miss a couple of days of it, then you notice that you're not feeling as well again, because once we start reducing that inflammation, we don't want to, we want to basically just crush it and get it out of the body. We don't want to give it the chance to take hold again. So if someone's traveling, we want to make sure they have their supplements, and it's much easier to take that with them because, everybody's life is very, very much on the go nowadays.
And I have to say too that, to what Craig was saying about knowing in minutes, not months or years, whenever I drink this, my stomach just feels happy and it feels peaceful. And I know it right away when I drink it, so I'm like, whoa, this stuff works. It makes a huge difference. Yeah. And, again, looking at the ingredient list, you've got L-glutamine, alpha-linoleic acid, you've got L-lysine, glycine, proline, quercetin, skullcap root, turmeric, ginger root, green tea extract. So there's over 10 different things. So you can either get a protein shake and take 10 tablets, or you could just take 1 powder. And so this makes life easier and more simple, and I'm just so thankful because the easier it is for me to implement, the longer I will be able to sustain.
Well, and one of the things that, as you're kind of going through there, when you really look at Inflammacore, one of the first things people say from, like a powder standpoint and supplements in general, first time you put someone on a supplement, they think that, the probably first 2 questions are how much and how long.
Right.
How many capsules am I taking? How long is this going to be that I'm going to have to deal with this? So that's the benefit of a powder. I could do this product in a capsule format for you guys, but it's quite frankly, you would be taking probably 25 capsules every single time that you try to do it, and then you wouldn't be getting the protein powder. So with that, when you look at a product in a in a powder, that's the benefit, is you don't have to basically take this. You take a couple of scoops of it, mix it up, take your smoothie, and you're done with it. And it eliminates all of the capsules. It eliminates all of basically the hassle of doing it, and it's super simple.
Super simple. And so the next thing I wanted to talk about, if it's okay, is the Core Source. Because in Core Restore, the Core Restore, because the Core Restore is the protein powder that helps with
liver detoxification.
Yes.
So that is that's a really, really great product that we look at. Our detox is going to be phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. So a lot of you guys probably heard the words detoxification and your mind just went completely somewhere different than where it should be going right now. And if you've ever done one and suffered through it, suffered is a good word, because what we look at, your phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification, when patients try and do both of them at the same time and they're trying to force the toxins out of their body before the body's ready to release the toxins, that's where your side effects, your headache, your nausea, those types of things happen. So acetylation, methylation, glutathione conjugation, your pathways that help to release the toxins from your body, you have to clean those out basically first. And our detoxification protocol, which is, we do it in a 7-day kit, we do it in a 14-day kit. You could do 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, however you want to get there. When you do that, the first couple of days are focused on upregulating those pathways of detoxification, so that then when you start actually working on the detox itself, the releasing of the toxins, you're less likely to have any of the side effects. Now, we both know this. You're going to have patients that are doing their first detox and they live a very toxic lifestyle, whether it is mental, emotional, whether it is dietarily, whether it is some vices that they have. Some people, a detox is, no matter how you slice it, is going to be tough because they have a lot of toxins. But for your average healthier patient that we need to get the things that build up in the central adiposity, or someone who's done hormone replacement therapy or any of those types of things, where we really want to work on getting those excess toxins out of the body, our program is really simple. It's really easy,
simple.
And it's very patient friendly. We were talking about the patient guides earlier and how you get with the detox program, it has an entire patient guide that walks you through day 1 through day 7, 14, 21, however you want to go about doing it. And it's something that, a lot of patients think it's going to taste terrible. I'm going to be on the toilet for, the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all completely different. This is not a colon cleanse. This is a liver detox, and it's completely different. As somebody who has done them multiple times myself and, talked to a lot of doctors, it's, we're always going to have patients that are going to say, hey, it's too tough for me, I can't do it. Those are, sometimes those are the ones that actually end up benefiting the most from it, and we all know they're the ones that need to benefit the most from it. The chocolate or the vanilla on it, I'm once again partial to the chocolate. I like chocolate. So but flavor-wise, once again, it's completely and totally up to you, and the program is very, very easy to accomplish in a week.
And I have to say too that the great thing I love about their detox is it was so simple for me to understand. You open up the package insert and it says day 1 and 2 do this. Okay, protein shake, or and then you incorporate the phase 1 conjugation after you upregulate the phase 2, because you want to get the way to get your body to get the stuff out started first, and then you want to present it so your body can get it out. And that was like, oh, that makes so much sense. And with a detox, I'll tell people all the time as well, this is not calorically restrictive actually. Like, I honestly could care less about how much a patient eats, just as long they follow the rule of eating whole foods. I try to encourage more protein for most people, though some people are exceptions of that. But being on a detox was the first time that I realized that my stomach didn't have to hurt every day. Because when I did the detox and ate that way, I was like, oh, I think I might have a food issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then when my stomach bloated back up, I'm like, I reincorporated something I did not need.
Yep.
And it led me to realize that I've been ingesting for a long time a food that my body looked as an allergen. So it was an easy way not only to pull goo out of my body, but to reference what a normal state of the body should be.
Yeah, and that's kind of the very interesting thing about doing a detox. I always talk to practitioners And if you follow the patient guide A to Z, 1 through, however many pages are in it, the first 2 days are a modified fast. You're taking your core support powder, you're taking the multivitamin that's in there that's going to help with energy and going to help with detoxification. But ultimately, the thing that I always say to practitioners and to encourage them to tell patients is, you get out of a detox what you put into yourself while doing a detox. So if you're looking at, eating healthy, if you're eating local, if you're eating green, if you're not having, we talk about, and something that I always say is a salad really a salad if you dump a bottle of ranch and put a block of cheese on it? No. So if you're doing healthy things during that detox and eating based on the patient guide and the recommendations and the snacking and the shopping list and everything that we have in there, it's really a simple program to do. And the first 2 days can be a little bit tough, but once you get through them, if you need a snack on those first couple of days and you're eating some almonds that come from a healthy source, not going to a gas station and getting some smoked candy, whatever, version of it, if you're getting some local, or if you're getting some healthy, just raw foods, it's amazing how much better you feel, when you're done. It's just crazy.
And it's just food, but food is so hard because so many of us, myself included at times, more than not perhaps, use food as a reward system for ourselves. And so you feel like you're taking something away from yourself, or you feel like you're punishing yourself. But really, once you actually feel good, you realize that, wow, if I feed my body good food, I feel so much better. And it's not a penalty to do that, it's a reward. So it really helped me in that, so I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, and that's what I would say. The one thing, patients, you say detox and they're just no. And they think that it's going to be the worst thing. I mean, it really is one of the founding principles of a functional or an integrative practice is letting food be thy doctor. And that's really a lot of what detox, that's what a lot of glycemic core, that's what a lot of those things are really using things that patients have gotten away from to show them that how simple it can be.
And I think people also have an illusion that they think healthy eating is so complex, it's undoable, and it requires hours and hours. And I continually try to reassure people we evolved, or our bodies evolved in a very primal world. And so if being healthy was so hard, we wouldn't still be alive. And just break it down, make it simple. And by having the protein shakes in there and kind of cleaning goo out of my body, it helped me focus on how to make eating simple in between. And then once you figure out that you can do it, you have confidence and you keep going.
Yeah.
So another product that they have that's really new, and well, we can also talk about Mitocore. Mitocore, she had another protein powder that they have that I believe comes in, is it lemonade and strawberry?
Yep.
And so talk a little bit about Mitocore.
So the Mitocore is, at its heart, it's really, I would say, more of like a liquid multivitamin.
Yep.
It's formulated more into, obviously, mitochondrial issues, energy production, detoxification, immune issues. There's some really good data on increasing CD4 cell counts in patients. But ultimately, what I see with it is it's a good, healthy dose of brown rice protein, once again. Then you're getting carnitine, lipoic acid, N-acetylcysteine, things that help to shuttle fatty acids across the mitochondrial barrier, basically increasing energy production, increasing detoxification, and really giving that patient a good fighting chance to boost their immune system, to have a little bit more energy, to feel better. And one of the things that we look at, when we were talking about the detox program is, when you do a 7-day detox, or you do a 14-day detox, what do you do on day 8? What do you do on day 15? What do you do on day 22? However long you do the day, what is the first thing you do the day after? Mitocore is a really good product because it has some similar ingredients that continue to upregulate both phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. So it's really kind of a good thing to, if you're recommending twice a year to do a detox, Mitocore, between those two detoxes does a good job of continually upregulating the detoxification pathway, so it's going to make that next one easier. But it's, it also gives you the benefit of the energy production and everything. From my standpoint with it, you can look at it as, it's a good solid B vitamin as well. There's a lot of advantages to that product. It's ultimately when you say, hey, kind of what are your, I don't like necessarily answering the question when a doctor says, tell me what are your 10 10 best-selling products. What I always would talk about is what are our 10 best products, and what I mean by that
So
is
good.
research, science, raw materials, and those types of things. And with that, literally everybody who walks through your door is coming to see you because they want to feel better, they want to get sick less often, they want to look younger, all of these things, and that's all of what MitoCore is basically doing, is increasing helping to help the patient with immune issues, helping them to have more energy, giving them a good dose of brown rice protein, a lot of the things that it's just natural and it's just an easy thing to do. And once again, it's something that from a capsule standpoint, we have a capsule product.
Yep.
You get it, but then with the benefit of the powder, it's actually then adding in about 15 grams of brown rice protein. So it's literally the exact same formulation as the capsules, but then you get the protein with it as well. So it's kind of killing two birds with one stone.
The other thing I'd like to mention too is, having all these protein powders, you can vary them. You could take one day, one another day. So or one month and one another month. So if you wanted the detox, you go, oh, okay, well maybe a couple months out of the year, I'm going to use the Core Restore. And then the other times, if I have a little bit more food allergy issues, I'll try a little bit more Inflammacore. So while I try to keep my food allergens out of my diet, sometimes they sneak through. So if they sneak through, my stomach hurts. So I a lot of times will do Inflammacore at least 2 or 3 times a week, just because I know, that's helping my body help itself. And then on other times I might do, I'm really trying to watch my weight a little bit more, and I'm trying to feel fuller with my protein, so I'll do like a Glycemicore. So I like mixing them together depending on my goals, but I know they're all quality products. I minimize the amount of tablets that I have to take, which I just love, and then I didn't have to go buy a protein powder and 22 supplements. I just kind of know the gist of what I'm doing.
Well, and I think one of the other ways that I would look at it, because people, I'm sure there's someone out there right now thinking that sounds really, really complex.
Yeah, I think you make things too complex.
We've talked about 5 different products, or however many things it is, and how do I keep all of these things straight? Ultimately, I think to just simplify and say, hey, all of them really kind of build on the same concept. And whether it's going to be satiety, whether it's going to be inflammation, whether it's going to be detoxification, they all kind of play on all of those concepts and then have very unique properties that they're going to address as well. So, when the patient comes and sees you and, we determine that, we're looking at some potential type 2 diabetes issues down the road, that's going to be more of the Glycemicore. When we say, hey, we're looking at more food allergies, then we do the Inflammacore. That's not to say that patient couldn't benefit from both of them.
Right.
But if you address if you address the inflammation first with the Inflammacore, then we notice that maybe it takes less time to lower blood sugar with Glycemicore, because inflammation is going to drive triglycerides and it's all together. So to me, realistically, it just depends on how much of a functional paradigm you want to follow, because we would always say, well, heal the gut first. So you would do the detox, then you would do the Inflammacore, then you would work on the symptoms that come from that, because our triglycerides, cholesterol, inflammation, all of those things coming from a particular lifestyle choice that you're making, well, are you then taking that lifestyle choice out by having a healthier diet and healing the gut first?
Awesome. And then you also have a new product that we're going to talk about, and I'll hold it up, and then I'll have Craig talk about it. So it's called Indigo Greens.
So this is a product that just came out about 10 days ago.
Okay.
So it is realistically just a superfood in a jar. It's going to be a USDA organic source of about 16 different fruits, vegetables, and just superfoods. So I know one of the things that we talk about a lot of times, from a diet standpoint, if a patient thinks they're eating healthy and they don't necessarily know how or what they're doing, this is another way to basically just simplify something and say, hey, we're going to take a scoop of this and we're going to get basically our entire day's worth of fruits and vegetables into one serving in the morning. and you're getting a really, really healthy dose of a lot of different things that people probably know they should be taking. Beets, kale, things like that, but that people don't want to take because they don't like them. I don't like beets. My wife likes beets. I know beets are good for me, but I don't like them. I don't taste them in this. It's one of the things that I think, I was talking to someone about earlier today, and he said, he's like, I just tried a greens the other day, and it was the absolute worst thing that I've ever tasted in my life. And I was like, well, let's try this and tell me what you think. It really doesn't have much, if any, flavor to it. It's very neutral, so it's very, very easy for a patient to take. I think, a lot of times companies will try and make things too sweet or too sour or too whatever to mask a flavor, and that's where the mistake comes. You just end up with something that, if you're pandering to someone and saying we need to make something be taste like sugar because that's what my patients want, that's not medicine. That patient's not going to get better. So, as it's something that you haven't, really had a lot of experience with yet, I would say that from a patient standpoint, what you really kind of look at when you take this, it really even breaks down further to, it's going to be about $2 a day patient cost, which I don't know the last time I had a healthy lunch or a healthy meal that consisted of as many fruits, vegetables, and things that are in here at $2 a day. It's a great, it's going to be a great way to go about doing that.
And the other thing I always talk to folks about is just having a lower glycemic index foods that they're taking in. And you get all those fruits and vegetables for 6 grams of carbs, where less than 1 dietary fiber. So, wow, that really kind of fits into that.
And I would even say that one of the things that I talk to doctors about all the time is carbohydrates versus carbs. So carbohydrates being part of a healthy diet.
Right.
So when you look at this, I would say carbohydrates, not to correct you.
No, I get it, like sugars.
And because it's coming from fruits and vegetables. So, for instance, if there is banana in here or pineapple in here, so you're getting sugar from that, but it's natural. We're not adding in any fructose, sucrose, anything like that. So it can definitely be used by someone that's doing a low glycemic type of diet. And once again, I think it's definitely something that can be added into a lot of different things. That's I think we figured out that the more simple that a formula is, the more you can. You don't need to flavor it. You don't need to make it be more than what it is.
Right.
If you make something cherry, vanilla, strawberry, whatever, and I like cherry, vanilla, but I hate strawberry, and you like this, then I don't like that product. So the more simple that you can make something, and the more things that you can that patient likes, because when a patient figures out what they like, and they're going to be adding something else to it, you don't want to change the integrity, you don't want to change the taste, you don't want to change, all of the different avenues of it. So it's really something that can be added into, what you're already doing existingly.
Awesome. And I think we had a question. So if someone has a banana allergy, or say if they're allergic to the fun thing, there's chlorella in here. I'm so excited. Pineapple, for example. Would they have an allergy to this, do you think?
I would have to speak with our PhD about that and double check. Let's just say that my overwhelming guess on that's probably going to be yes, but I can get that answer and let you guys know on that. I'm not 100% sure.
But
I would say yes is how I would guess on that, because I know when you do a raw material that comes from pineapple, for instance, if you have quercetin, for instance, or bromelain. Sorry, that's what I was trying to come up with. If you have bromelain comes from pineapple. I've heard of people having some reactions to that before. Okay. So I'm guessing if it's in here that the answer to that would be yes, especially since it comes from basically organic pineapple or organic banana.
The cool thing too is this is chlorella in it, which I'm so excited because I'm always trying to encourage, chlorella pulls goo from your body.
I think it's going to be something that you
I'm
guys
so
are-
excited.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to try it yet, but I was like, oh, Greg, we're talking about like all these protein
You're
powders.
supposed to say you've already tried it. It's
Oh,
fantastic.
no, I'm going to go try it because it sounds super great. But let me tell you, I've tried other people's greens products and I had to choke it down. So I'm so excited to try this. And I'll give you feedback next week when we talk about it, about how amazing it is. But I pretty much trust what Craig says because he's never done me wrong. So that being said, I think if he attests to it, I'll attest to it too. But I'll give you feedback next week. So, and we'll check about the allergies with the contents in here because I know we do a lot of food allergy, food sensitivity testing. And if you're allergic to, like pineapple, then just like in sometimes with
Yeah.
Inflammacor, I can't give this to some people who are allergic to ginger.
Yeah.
Because there's ginger, but ginger is good for your GI tract. And so here you are trying to do what's right for yourself and actually spraying an allergy at the same time.
Yeah, and I would say that I would just tend towards usually the safe side on that, but I'll have you an official answer
Perfect.
on that.
Okay. How about any other questions, Lauren, on this great day? We have totally saturated our audience's mind with all of this amazing information about protein powders because it is so exciting. I tell you, if somebody can take protein powders and make it exciting, it's Craig. So thank you so much for being with us. Is there anything else you want to tell our amazing audience?
I would just say that you are the expert. So any questions they have, you're the person that they would be wanting to talk to about it. So.
And Orthomolecular rocks, and I'm just so thankful for Craig I think Orthomolecular does a really great job, and we're super excited to use a lot of their products because they work. And so thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's always a lot of fun.
Yay! Have a great day and
Bye.
join us next